All right, so I just took the dog for a walk, and it reminded me of it reminded me of a dog I had when I lived out in Seattle. One of my ex-girlfriends out there. Actually, the only ex-girlfriend I had out there. It was actually the longest relationship I've ever had. It lasted about a year, so it was a good time. She was a 6 foot California blonde, but anyway. So what goes on with this is she wanted a dog, and she had never had a dog before. And I'm like, all right, well, we'll get you a dog. I said, for Christmas, Christmas is coming up. I'll buy you a dog for Christmas. I'll get you a puppy. Man, what kind of dog do you want? She's like, well, I don't know. I want to look at it. And she was one of these. She's type A. You know, you have all the fucking details and well, how much are they gonna weigh? Are they gonna shed and all this shit? So she does her research and she came to the conclusion that she wanted a labradoodle. And I was like, we're not because there's no labradoodle. Because keep in mind, your dog is going to be my dog. We live together. We're going to have this dog together. All right. And I know what's going to happen. You never had a dog. So I'm going to have to house break it, house train it, teach it tricks, all that shit, walk it and all that jazz. It was almost like that's bad to say. It's almost like having a kid that wants a puppy. Like I know that it's not really your dog. It's really going to be my fucking dog. But anyway, anybody who has kids, you know how that works. So here's how the story goes. So we end up, I was like, well, plus the Labradoodles, they're like $1,200. I was like, I'm not paying $1,200 for a fucking dog. There are plenty of dogs that need homes from shelters, good dogs, and they'll appreciate you and they'll love you, and everybody knows that. So we go to the shelter, we check out dogs, and we're looking at these dogs, and I'm like, I'm not really pressing the issue, but kind of just saying, well, what do you think of this one? I think that one liked you. She's like, I don't know. What about this one? Oh, I don't know. And we go through this process. So we go up and down the aisles with a little tour guide person from the shelter showing us all the different dogs. And eventually, there's this one dog, and when he sees her and she sees him, she's like, "Oh my God, he's so cute." He sees her, he goes fucking ape shit in his crate. He's like, "Oh my goodness, oh my goodness!" He's jumping up and down on his bed. He knocks his water bowl and food bowl over. I mean, he's going nuts. I'm like, "Oh, that's the one right there. That's the one we're gonna get." Of course, she's still, well, let's see all of them first and make sure and all this shit. So we go to the thing, whatever. And she was unsure about it. We get into the car, we go get something to eat, and she's like, I really liked him though. He seemed like a really nice dog. And I'm like, all right, well, look, do you want the damn dog? At this point, it's like trying to figure out where you're going to eat dinner. It's like, do you want to go to Applebee's, Ruth Chris? Where do you want to go? Yeah, I don't know. Chipotle. What do you want for dinner? Do you want the dog? She's like, well, well, what do you think? I said, this is what I think. We're gonna go there when they open up tomorrow. And when we get there, if he's still there, we're getting the fucking dog. And she's like, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. Yes, we're getting the dog. So we're driving home. When we drive by the shelter, and this is the part in the evening where they're walking the dogs, their last walk for the night. And he's being walked, and she's like, "Oh my God, is that him?" And she almost hit a car. She's driving. She almost hit a. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa!" I'm like, "Yes, that's him. That's him. We're going tomorrow. We're gonna get the damn dog." And I like the dog too. 110 pound, like 110 pound, just stout guy, man. He was a cool dude. So we go the next day. We walk in the door. Like we were there like about 15 minutes before they opened up. So they open the door as we walk in, and the lady at the desk is like, "Oh, how can I help you today?" And I said, "We're here for the dog that we saw yesterday." And she's like, "Hey, which one's that?" And I told her the name, and she's like, "Okay, well," I said, "Just go ahead and draw the paperwork up. We're taking the dog." So we do the little visitation shit. We take the dog home. All right, so here's where it gets funny. So of course he was already housebroken. He was already trained. He had a lot of good shit. He's a sweetheart too. Big guy. He was a lot of fun. Like I'd wrestle on the floor with him, and all that shit. And it was a great time. And he was very protective of her, not of me, of her. He loved her. Like he liked me. We were cool. We were buds. Like I'm sitting on the sofa. He's laying his big ass diamond shaped head in my lap. He was like a mastiff mix. And I'm like, yeah, dude, we're sitting hanging out. I'm watching Sports Center, whatever, ESPN. And, he's just hanging out. And he would hear, because I'd have the windows open, he'd hear that little chirp, chirp. Where you locked your car, you set the alarm. He's like, whoop. And I'm like, oh boy. As soon as that key hit the lock, man, he was gone. I'm talking the coffee tables flipped over. One time he knocked the recliner over, which really pissed me off because it took pictures off the wall. He darts ass to the door, and I got to stand up and show you guys this. So when she comes in, he gets the door, he's sitting there, he's all, oh my goodness, oh, it's you, oh, I'm so happy, oh my goodness. You know how dogs are when they're really happy. See, it's all over the place. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And she sees him, and she's like, oh, hey, Bubba, what are you doing, baby? And all this shit, right? So it gets to a point where, like, he won't really listen to her because he always thinks that she's playing with him. So, like, when she says, don't do that, he's like, woof. And she's like, no, don't do it. He goes, woof. She didn't get it. I say, hey, go lay your ass down. Get your, out. And then, he'd lay the fuck down. She's like, he really seems to listen to you. You really seem to have a bond with him. And I said, no, sweetheart, it's not a bond. He knows I'll fuck his ass up. That's why he was. She's like, do you beat him? I said, no, I don't beat him. I said, he's a 100-pound dog. You got to handle him like a 100-pound dog. Anyway.